Hello, and welcome to week 7. It is always important to keep the basics of writing instruction in mind as you move through the week. Encourage daily time to write and set expectations, such as what the writing space should look like. Help students understand that writing is a recursive process that involves planning, drafting, receiving feedback, revising, and publishing or sharing. Finally, use mentor texts and models so that students can visualize a finished product. And don't forget to write with your students and nurture that community of writers. Day 1. This week, students will return to descriptive writing. Before you show them the invitation to write, you might mention that description helps readers understand by giving them examples or filling in the details. In the Students Lit Lab guidebook, they will receive this week's invitation to write and to move through the steps of the writing process. The Week 7 invitation explains that this week they are going to make and describe a piece of art from found items. Since artists are often resourceful, they will use any supplies available to produce their art. In the space below, they will create their own art using glue or tape and any discarded items they can find. Let's move on to the planning stage. Prior to initiating the planning activity, you might want to show the students examples of mixed media art. Then, in the space provided in the Students Lit Lab guidebook, have them create a mixed media piece of art. This week, they will use plain white paper to plan. Read the additional planning ideas aloud to them. Sticks or flowers, pictures from magazines or newspapers, cotton balls or popsicle sticks. As always, take time to nurture their creativity. Model the process for them and share your drawing with them. Whether face-to-face or remote, encourage the students to share their planning too. Next, students will move on to drafting. When it is time for the students to move from planning to drafting, have them use their composition notebooks. In their notebooks, they will describe their artwork so that other artists can learn from them. When writing with them first, you should start the conversation with, "I created a summer scene with newspaper, shapes, stickers, and an old wig. What are some ideas that you can give me to get me started?" Then, model using the writer's composition notebook to draft. You can show the students your draft and read it aloud. This art piece shows a summer scene. I used an old newspaper for the background and I added a smiling sun sticker. Next to it are 2 happy cloud stickers. A joyful creature stands with its arms out. Wearing mirrored sunglasses, you can see that the creature is ready for some summer fun. You can point out the descriptive words such as old, smiling, happy, joyful, and mirrored. They might have time to start this on day 1. If not, encourage them to draft their descriptions before they return for day 2. Day 2. When possible, make time for feedback. On day 2, students can gather feedback from you and their peers. Have students turn to the feedback guide located on the last page of the Students Lit Lab guidebook. Using the sentence and question stems provided, or those that have worked well for you in the past, have students ask others to provide praise, questions, or suggestions. You can also prompt students to focus on specific aspects, such as their ideas, vocabulary, design, and/or effort. After students have received feedback or have looked over their writing themselves, give them time to polish their pieces. Revision lists encourage students to focus on a few items to work on. These lists can be added to their composition notebooks or placed on sticky notes or note cards. You can model this process too. For example, the students might encourage me to add details about the creature's hair and outfit. Now consider the ways that students can share their writing with their peers. Use the designated space or virtual background that signals the featured author. Have peers respond with finger snapping, clapping, emojis, or GIFs. Writing is a joyful act, so make sure that you include time for reflection. This is an excellent way to build students' self-efficacy and identity, both as a writer and this week as someone who might pursue an art career. Questions could include the following. As a writer, what did you do well this week? What might you try differently next week? Which part of your writing makes you most proud? What did you learn about artists? Could you imagine yourself becoming an artist one day? Don't forget to capture students' work, words, and wonderment and add them to the artifact gallery. And as always, if you have any questions through the week, please feel free to reach out to me.